sisters. It is really, really good to be with you this morning. This morning, as Father just mentioned, it is Priesthood Sunday. So today we honor our priests because our priests do so much for us. You know, without the priest, no Mass, no sacraments. And we are so blessed to have a wonderful holy priest in our midst. So please, when you have a chance this morning, thank Father for all he does for us. And I just want to express to Father on behalf of the Mercy Parish how much we love him and how much we thank him for everything that he does for us. This morning I have to apologize. I don't have a joke. And so what I have is just a small story to illustrate my message and my homily. So there was this man that was stranded in an island, and he was there for many years. And when he was found, the people that found him noticed he had built 2 churches. And they were curious, why would you build 2 churches? There's only one of you here. And the man said, one is the church I go to, the other one is the one I don't go to. So my brothers and sisters, in today's readings, we see a message for unity in one spirit. The following are quotes from Moses and Jesus that we find in today's readings in regard to the importance of unity. Moses said in the first reading from the book of Numbers, with that all the people of the Lord were prophets, with that the Lord might bestow his Spirit on them all. And then Jesus, in the Gospel reading from Mark, says the following: whoever is not against us is for us. There is a strong message behind these phrases, and they are applicable to our current times in our church and in our world. It is very interesting, and it always amazes me how saints said and written many centuries ago have a message for us today. So contrary to what many people may think, the Spirit of the Lord has been with the Church before Vatican II and after Vatican II all the way up to today. We can almost hear Moses saying this to his followers in the book of Numbers: are you jealous for my sake? Moses is frustrated because his followers are clearly thinking about themselves and their position, and not about the Word of God, which anyone can receive and proclaim. The Gospel of Mark echoes this advice. The church is not an exclusive club, but it is for everyone. Jesus says, there is no one who performs a mighty deed in my name who can at the same time speak ill of me. And we who follow Jesus as Lord must also become aware that God acts around us and in his own way, and God can use anyone. There seems to be much conflict and division in our world, our church, our country, our communities, our families, and if we're honest with ourselves, within ourselves as well. I witness this division all the time on Facebook, and in much of our news, and even among Christians. How do we address this division? And how do we work toward resolution, reconciliation, and unity? The Spirit, like the wind, blows wherever it wills. No human, no side, if you will, is able to claim that they have the Spirit and others do not. This is what Moses and Jesus are telling us today in the readings. We need to acknowledge that others, even those we disagree with, also have the Spirit of God in them. This is the first step to acknowledge that we don't have a monopoly in the Spirit. Without this acknowledgement, we will never be able to move forward together. As Catholics, we are all baptized as priests, prophets, and kings. We have been confirmed and commissioned to preach the Word of God by the way we live. But even this fact of baptism and confirmation doesn't confine the Spirit to us or give us a corner on the Spirit. Even good people of other faiths can have the Spirit of God in them and do good works. I will go even further and say that some atheists even can be used by God and have the Spirit of God in them. I will tell you my own experience about this with my own cousin. I had a cousin, we call him Puchingo, was his nickname. His name was Rafael. He died last year, September 5th, 3 days after my mother. This man grew up in Cuba, and secular communist Cuba, where people are brainwashed not to believe in God. And he was a college professor, PhD in agriculture engineering, grew up as an atheist, didn't believe in God. Him and his wife were not able to have children, and they both were professionals. They were college professors in Cuba. And they were in the elite class in Cuba. They were some of the only people that could fly out of Cuba. And they were on a business trip to Germany. 20 years ago, this is 20 years ago, my cousin was in his 40s. He died last year when he was 63. And they got off the plane in Guatemala. The plane stopped in Guatemala. They got off the plane. They never got back in. They escaped Cuba and they went to Miami. For the first 5 years, they struggled with, just low wages jobs. But within 5 years, they both got good jobs. And in this last 15 years, my cousin and his wife brought in 29 people out of Cuba. They bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And that house was like a hotel. Bringing 29 people out of Cuba is a big expense. You got to sponsor them. You got to host them in your house until they get to their own 2 feet. They did that for 29 people. And I could go 3 hours more telling you all my cousin is done. This man was full of joy, full of love. Everyone that knows him loved him. And I didn't agree with his political views. I love this man despite the things that we disagree, and that was the case with everyone that knew him. He united everyone around him because he served everyone. Anyone in need, my cousin helped. And at his funeral, the place was packed with people. This was during COVID. And his brother-in-law, not his brother-in-law, who had just lost his mom 6 months earlier, told me, "This is more painful to me than when I lost my mother." And his wife today is going through a big depression. She has to take pills to go to sleep. She has to see a psychologist weekly because how much she loved my cousin. And that's the way with everybody who met this man. Didn't believe in God. I don't know. I think he had an implicit faith. Not an explicit faith, but he had an implicit faith. And he did what his conscience told him to do. So he united people that way. He united people around him, around his love. So my brothers and sisters, there are clearly subdivisions in our church and in our world. In our world, we are being divided by how much wealth we have, the rich against the poor. Also by the color of our skin, by our political views, and many other things. More recently, we are now being divided by the fact that we're vaccinated or not. I am concerned about the division in our church. There is a division in our church among conservatives and liberals and other groups. Some in our church say that only the Latin Mass is valid. These are the ultra-conservatives. And others, on the other hand, say all religions are the same. These are the liberals. As Catholics, we must be careful with extremes. Both are bad. We must try to be in the center. In other words, we need to just be Catholics. We need to work towards resolution, reconciliation, and unity. This should not depend on the power of material wealth, skin color, pre-Vatican or after Vatican II teachings, but on the spirit within, given to all for a reason. Many have been given of one same spirit, but not all have received the same gifts. Each has been given gifts for some specific reason. This variety of gifts is used rightly, can move us towards unity even within this diversity. When we encounter someone that does not agree with our views on an issue, we should say to ourselves, this person has not been given the graces from God as I have to understand the problem the same way I do. We should pray for them that they receive the graces to understand, but also we should pray to God for ourselves to fully get the graces to fully understand the problem. Because it is possible we are the ones that are not seeing the full picture because our lack of knowledge and complete knowledge on this whatever issue we're talking about. Today, we are being bombarded with news from both sides that are not true or complete. We are giving a lot of half-truths. Our political and church news are being reported by people with an agenda and a bias, and we don't normally get the entire complete picture. We must be careful when we make our opinions based on the news. I think there's room in the church for everyone, conservatives, liberals, progressive, traditional, everyone. We're all God's children, and we're all brothers and sisters, since we have the same Father. But we should all be trying to move to the center and just be Catholic. We must be willing to work together towards unity with a sense of harmony. We all must be willing to put our difference aside. We must work together and follow the teachings of our beloved church. Opinions are like belly buttons. We all have one. But the truth is only one, and it is a person, Jesus Christ. We must focus on finding the truth because the truth will set us free. St. Augustine encourages us to live in harmony in our house, being of one mind, one heart, on the way to God. It means that we must agree on our goal. It is the same, God. We must agree in doing God's will and working together to build God's kingdom. The USA procedure coordinator said one time at a retreat that I was present the following phrase. He said, unity in the essentials, disunity in the non-essentials, and charity in all. I like the last one, charity in all. Let us focus on which unite us and not on our different approaches. Let us put away the my way or the highway attitude and claim our status as priest, prophet, and king who have been anointed with one spirit and commissioned to contribute to the building of the community of God, not to tear it apart with petty jealousy that creates conflict and division. Let us focus much more transforming our hearts with the help of the Spirit and loving each other despite our differences. Allowing the Spirit to transform our hearts is what is going to bring unity and help with the problems in this world. When the great G.K. Chesterton, one of the wisest men, probably the wisest man in the last 200 years, he was asked, what is the problem with the world? His answer was, me. I am the problem. So we must, my brothers and sisters, we must try to build a society of mercy, forgiveness, love, and redemption. And for that, we need a transformation of our hearts. You know, today, we're going to celebrate the Eucharist. And the Eucharist is called the sacrament of love, the sign of our unity. So, my brothers and sisters, may our reception of the Eucharist today move us to live in this way. Let us unify in the love that we all have for this wonderful God that loves us so much. With that all the people of the Lord were prophets, with that the Lord might bestow his Spirit on all. Whoever is not against us is for us. May God bless you. I love you all.